Being that it is now 6:04, I'm going to call to order the Village of Belleville Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Roll call.
Mike Davis,
Present.
Sam Kuzmarski, Barry Ziegler,
Here.
Debbie Baumgart, Gary Wells,
Here.
Larry Eno is absent because of forum.
Comment. Do you have any public comment tonight?
I don't have anybody signed up for public comment tonight.
Seeing none, I'm going to save myself from reading that. Consent agenda. All items in the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the commission member requests it, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered the first item after the approval of the consent agenda. And we have the minutes from February 11th, 2025.
Move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Gary, second by Jared. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And now we have a presentation for the Belleville Comprehensive Plan by the Lakota Group.
Well, thank you all very much. I'm Andy Cross with the Lakota Group. It's good to see you all again. And so tonight I'm thinking half an hour. There's just some things that I really want to introduce you to, talk to you about, introduce you to the comp plan, because for the next, let's say year or so, 8 months, 10 months, a year, it's going to be crossing your radars. You're going to see stuff around town, and people will be asking you about it because you're on the which one of you are on the village board. Okay. So awesome. So people are going to be talking to you about it, asking you questions. And the worst thing to say is, call staff. So I want to give you an idea about what this process is, what the comprehensive plan is, and let you know what resources are out there where you can be writing. So let's kick this off here. How do
I think I've got, that's what was on your. You're just gonna have to let me know and I'll move your screen for you.
Okay, well, the next.
That's as fancy as I get.
Okay. So, projects like this often have a steering committee. It's one group of dedicated residents and leaders who kind of shepherd the process through. And that's, in larger communities that can make sense. Here, we just don't need to do that. We're going to be working with Ian and Gabe a lot. But it's going to be important for you guys, for you all on the plan commission as plan commissioners and village board members to be engaged in the process, again, to know about it so you can speak knowledgeably about it. And there's no better way for us to get the word out about this than you all and your local networks. Friends, family, business partners, associates, things like that. So we're going to talk about kind of what that means, and then we're just going to go over the plan. So you have a good idea of what the heck, this consultant group, the Lakota Group, is doing here. So what the comprehensive plan is and how we're going to structure it. And I also want to get your thoughts about kind of planning here and the current comprehensive plan and some key things to focus on in the update. So let's keep scrolling. So you guys, really, it's being supportive throughout the process, and hopefully you have this. It's going to be awfully hard to read. So just general involvement and participation. We won't have any actual workshops or community open houses, but we will have an online survey. I'd love for you guys to take it and help get as many people as you know about to take it. To promote it, I think we're going to do yard signs, kind of like the election signs that talk about the community survey. We'll put those up at some key intersections around town. In my mind, I'm thinking a banner, maybe a library park, just to get visibility on it. And we'll get some flyers to the local businesses and whoever else can put it up around town. So maybe you can help distribute some flyers, things like that. And then representing Belleville, you're already representatives of Belleville, but it's champions. If you guys aren't familiar with the plan and at least a little bit excited about it, nobody else is going to be. So I'll really look for your help on that. So what is the plan and what is the process? Let's move forward one more. So the overall project that we're going to do, we're going to undertake it in 3 phases. And the first one, it talks about where are we now? We call it engage and assess. So we'll be doing a lot of public engagement. And the where are we now ends with, we call it a state of the village report, or a report about existing conditions. Because it's easy to think of it as like this. Before we can all talk about where we want to go, we've got to agree on where we're starting from. Here's where everything is at. So we have experts in economic development and housing and transportation, infrastructure. We're going to gather all this data and come up with a report about where are we now. And in that, that's where we'll look at the current comprehensive plan. Hey, what's working? What's still okay? Think about the land use, future land use plan. That has changed a lot since 2021. Think about the developments going on around town, the annexations. So those are the things we'll look at for sure, and we'll figure out what else we need to look at. So we'll identify all those in this first phase, and then we'll move to, okay, what do we do about it? And we'll come up with some initial goals, strategies, some visions. And that's our job as planners to come up with that. And that's when we bring that back to you and to the public. But that's where I think when we start looking at strategies, how can we do what we want to do? We've figured out what we want to do. Now, how do we do it? Nobody's going to have more insight on that than you guys at the village leadership level. When you think, local buy-in, nobody's going to go for that, Andy. Okay, let's rethink it. Or, that's actually some low-hanging fruit. I think that can piggyback onto this. We already have this project planned. Why don't we kind of dovetail that with some of these new strategies? It's having those discussions. So I think that would be, a great meeting to have here, so we can do it as a group. But then that's also something to put out to the public through a survey and kind of get some input on there. Because other people with their experience, think school district administrators or the development community, may have their very experienced kind of focused lens on things, and they can help us look at things a little differently. So that's where we come up with the goals and strategies, how we're going to do what we're going to do. And then finally, it is writing the new comprehensive plan. And it'll carry over, I think, some elements from the existing comprehensive plan. And then it'll have kind of our new information in it to give Belleville kind of a clear path, a clear chart, a pathway, a guide to move forward over the next 10 to 15 years is typically the lifespan or the time frame. Lifespan sounds important, but the timeline of a comprehensive plan. Okay, one more. So how are we going to do public engagement? Again, this community, I don't think we're going to do any actual open houses. But one of the first big things we're going to do is put together a list of focus groups, people to talk to. So the usual kind of groups are the development community and the builders. Let's get them all in a room together so that we can talk about, hey, what's working, what's not. Where's the demand? What are you seeing? And, does Belleville have the regulatory framework, the zoning code to really accommodate that, to facilitate what you're doing? What are the biggest headaches? We talk to governmental partners, and a question I'll ask them, say the county board. If the phone rings and you see on caller ID it's Belleville, what are they calling you about? And so maybe it's nothing, but sometimes the county board will be like, you know what, they never stop talking about X, Y, Z. That's really telling. So these are the conversations we'll have with governmental partners, local businesses. You can imagine that they're going to have plenty that they want to talk about. Hey, this is great. We're so happy about this. Or I've been talking to the village about this for 15 years and nothing ever gets done. Okay, let's listen. So we want to have a conversation with local businesses. Sometimes there are key institutions. I'm from Rochester, Minnesota, so the Mayo Clinic, we'd have them there. And who are some of the key institutions here? The first one that pops into our mind, generally speaking, is Duluth Trading. Okay, sure. But there are more, there are others. So we're working with Gabe and Ian to pull those together. So one thing I wanted to ask you about, and we'll get to this in a sec. So Noodle, about who some other focus groups or stakeholder groups would be good to talk to from your experience, sitting on the dais, sitting in the board meetings, sitting at the public hearings, plan commission meetings. Who are some good groups to think about? So we'll touch on that in a minute. So we're going to do an online survey for phase 1, and that's where we're going to ask a lot of more general questions, just to get feedback on what's good, what do you like. If you want to think it in the most basic way, it's a a more helpful version of the SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We don't pose it like that. We don't want to think about threats to Belleville, but or weaknesses. So we phrase it in a way that helps people kind of put their planning hats on and say, hey, you know, what's good? And one thing that I love to ask, and we'll probably do in some of the focus group meetings, is let's say, you know, you've been here for how many years? Okay, awesome. Let's say you get a job opportunity in Seattle and you have to move away. It's just, you can't say no. So you move to Seattle for 10, 15 years, but then you come back home and you see something different. And it's that thing that makes you say, they did it. They finally did it. What is that thing? I always wanted them to do that. Oh, man. What is that one thing you always wanted Belleville to do? They finally did it while you were gone. And that gets people thinking in a way that's different than, what would you like to see happen? You know, like, I don't know, another McDonald's? I don't know. But then if you get people thinking about that one big dream thing, it's, it's a microbrewery downtown, or it's another boat launch or something like that. So questions like that in this first survey, just to get feedback about the SWOT analysis of residents, for lack of a better phrase. Phase 2 is when we'll test the waters with our goals and strategies. And so it's something that I really want to air with you all first, so you can get eyes on it. And then we'll tweak it, revise it, and then put it out to the public. And so these are going to be promoted. So that's one thing we'll be looking to you guys to help on. I'll be working with staff on kind of doing it, around the town, around the village in certain ways. But there's nothing better than word of mouth from people you know and trust, and that have been elected. So I really want to work with you guys on that. And then we do have a project website going. Do you happen to have a browser online? Is that working?
Yeah. Just a second.
No. Tell me when.
Okay. Which one?
All right, www.
Well, this computer gets me, sorry. I'm in the wrong keyboard, that's why.
Yes.
Guys.
All right. Blooming Belleville, Jeepers cats, Blooming Belleville.
Dodd.
Doesn't even have our name right, so.
Is that Belleville? When was that?
Where, okay. Yeah, let me get Williams.
Belleville.
Can't hit the reshare here.
Okay.
That's your website there.
So jot that down if you want. We are bloomingbelleville.com. So this is the website, and we'll have it linked on the village's website. And this is where the survey will live. And this is where people, can you scroll down slowly for me? So it's a description about kind of what we're doing, what the plan is. And so we'll have the village promote this on their socials so people can read about it, can get more familiar. Branding is a big part of the way we like to communicate. If people can associate the project with a phrase like this, Belleville and Bloom. And then there's the great brand itself at the top of the page. These are the kind of things, once we repeat them in different brand formats, it helps build association with the project and some familiarity. Again, it's just kind of breaking down barriers. So that is up and going, and that will be an information resource throughout the project. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. There we go. That's great. All right, scroll down.
Yes.
So as we think about focus areas for the comprehensive plan, one, there is one already, right? It's from 2021, and some of it is just outdated already. So we'll be focusing on that and how it's used. A lot of comprehensive plans are poorly written. They're written in ways that make a lot of sense from a planning perspective, but when you actually sit down and try to use them, it's like, how do I use this? What are the actual steps I need to take? And that drives me crazy as a former city planner, and is something that planning staffs all over deal with. So what we are going to do is make it actually implementable. How is it used? Well, we're going to have a very clear action steps. So when you ask Gabe and Ian, are you guys doing the comprehensive plan? What have we done? Be able to say, well, we've done this action step, and this one is in 3 years. It'll be really cut and dry instead of, well, it only told us to consider something. I considered it. Does that mean we're doing our comp plan? We haven't really done anything. So that's something we'll be looking at. So the other focus areas, we want to continue the downtown planning. So we'll look at that. Enhancing placemaking and identity, kind of planner terms for really establishing strengthening Belleville's sense of identity. And an easy way to do that, or one way to do that, is by looking at the gateways coming into town and how can we enhance the village's presence on those. There is a welcome to Belleville sign, but it's way the heck inside the village. So maybe further north on 69. We can put it in welcome to Belleville sign, so people can actually know when they're coming to the village, instead of like, oh, well, once you pass through the training company, you know you're here. Well, maybe we can build past the training company as a landmark, and you're gonna have some formal gateway sign at some point, and that's another branding opportunity. Future land use planning, as I mentioned, will be an important thing to look at. Growth opportunities, whether it's infill within town, in the village, or further annexations around the border, and then just some economic development strategies are something that the experts that we work with are awfully good at, and something we would like to bring to enhance what might already be in the comprehensive plan. All right, let's go down one more slide. So this is where we can shine. So as we think about stakeholder groups, who pops in your mind?
That gentleman right back there and his school district.
All right. And why did he call you?
Because he likes to pick on me.
What kind of group? What is it?
Well, this is our superintendent of schools, and this should sound very familiar to him because the school district is in the process of very similar.
And Chance is on the steering team for that.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay. Look at that, 2 steering committees. You're going with this.
But obviously the schools are a huge stakeholder and the decisions the village makes impact the school district.
Without question.
And if the two organizations are not working cooperatively, we will create a problem.
Wonderful. Okay.
So we were actually just meeting before this meeting, Mike and our board president and Gabe and me.
Okay. About the plan?
That was one of the conversation pieces, yes.
Nice. Oh, what a coincidence. Okay. Any others? Oh, and we want to get students involved too. Yeah.
We got a couple for you.
Love it. Yeah, so any other groups pop into your head? Agricultural community, I'm working with a rural community in Walworth County, Wisconsin. With a full room full of farmers. Colorful meeting. So things like that. And the village leaders will sit down with, and would love to sit down with the board members, kind of on a one-on-one and just have a chat. I mean, we'll frame out all these discussions. We won't be talking about the weather, but I'd love to meet, kind of on a one-on-one and just talk through some of the planning issues. So, all right, well, we're always in touch with staff. So if more ideas come into your head, and as I mentioned, Gabe and Ian have already crunched on this a lot and are putting together a lot of great names and groups for us. So you saw that list of focus areas. And I know you just saw it for the first time tonight. So if there are others you think that we need to know about, I'd love to know. That'd be super helpful. I think in our conversations that we've had already, we've hit on a lot of them. But if there are other things that come to your mind, now if not tonight, then as we move forward, maybe we can have one-on-one conversation and say, you guys thought about maybe looking at this? I'd love to know. So that's kind of input where that this group here is in a really particularly good position to offer because of your position as community leaders and elected officials that listen and hear a lot. So again, these are just the planning goals. These are other things that we can continue to noodle on as we move forward in the process. But I hope it gives you a perspective, a lens on how we're viewing this project and what this project does, what a comp plan tackles and what it doesn't. It doesn't plow the streets. It doesn't, it doesn't order salt. It doesn't get cemetery mode. That's not what the comprehensive plan does. It's at a higher level. And so that's where, so I think, so I hope this helps you understand where to go. So let's close up here with the next steps. Where do we go from here? So we're hoping to put together the stakeholder interviews and focus group discussions I mentioned in April. And I want to have our survey live when we do that. The SWOT analysis survey live, so that we can, we'll be meeting with, let's say 2 or 3 dozen people throughout the day. If we can give each one of them a couple flyers, I just want to help. Again, it's all about getting the word out. You know, if we can get a few hundred responses, that would be amazing. If we can get more than that, even better. If we get 40, it's going to ruin my day. You know, it's just because, you know, if it's 40 people, pretty sure you know 40 people are going to take. It's the, you know, the people who vote to take. And I love to work with the school district to help get the word out there, to get as wide a swath of residents and stakeholders that we can take in that survey. So we'll be in touch about that. And then we'll keep doing our field work and analysis as we carry about this first phase, planning to learn and looking forward to it all. So that's what I have to say, guys. This is the comprehensive plan. Belleville and Bloom. Bloom, when you're ready. I'm so sorry. Belleville and Bloom, Bloomingville. Isn't that a great logo, Lauren? So that's it, guys. Do you have anything you want to bounce back at me right away?
How long is this looking for? 5 years, 20 years, 50 years?
10. Think of it as 10 to 15 years. The rule of thumb for updating a comprehensive plan is every 10 years.
But didn't we just outgrow this one after 5 years?
Not all of it. And that's why this is a very pointed update. A lot of it is going to be fine, but there are some components of it that are just not cutting it anymore, especially the future land use plan. Yeah. And we're also just going to get in there and make it better and make it more implementable, action-oriented, rather than high-level policy-oriented. Policies are important, but they don't move things forward. It's actual implementation and action steps forward. So we're going to get under the hood and make the current comp plan better too.
So and then in 5 years, we're going to have to turn around and do this again?
No, I shouldn't think so. Ours should be, the intent is to make it robust. I mean, certainly the consultants that did it 5 years ago didn't know it was going to be out of date in 5 years. But
What I'm thinking is financially, let's not keep spending the money to do this every 5 years. Let's run it out a ways.
Oh, yeah, yes. So I think there were extenuating circumstances and events that really, and housing trends that led to this one being parts of it being out of date so quickly. So now my intent as the lead plan on it is to have longevity. You know, that's what it's for. You know, it's way of short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals stretching out 10 years.
When you talk about, let me get back to my note. When we talk about like soliciting community input, you know, you throw out the number of 100 responses. I mean, I don't know. Do you think that's an adequate sample size for a community of this size?
No. Okay, first, we will never get, there's no, I mean, adequate sample size would be 30 or 40%. You know, I mean, that would be ideal, but we'll never get that. Never. And so we strive to get, the bottom line is we strive to get as many as we can. That's it, you know, so that's why in the hundreds would be great. And if after 4 weeks, 5 weeks, we're just getting a trickle in of responses and we're not where we want to be, we'll do a huge promotion push, however we can to get the word out. Yeah, I mean, Alaska, Wisconsin took out radio ads, for heaven's sake, on their ads.
Thank you, because that actually segues into my next question was, as part of this project, I'll kind of look over at Gabe. What, I know obviously funds are budgeted for this. Is there funding within that for marketing if we need to look at something like that? I mean, I'm not saying necessarily radio ads because legacy media is what it is, but spots.
You have some capital budget that is, we budgeted, not necessarily for this project, but for marketing Belleville in general. So yes.
Because one of my, on a tangent for a minute, one of my longstanding grievances is the village is not always effectively communicated with the residents. And I see this as an opportunity to really make inroads and improve that. So if spending a little bit of money in this process it improves the interaction with the residents, that's worth a lot of weight, so.
Well, what has been, the turnout for prior surveys and stuff? I think I've seen 300 or 400 people respond.
Plan had about 300 flares about 2 years ago. But the last ones, I think we had like 1/10 of 1% of our residents send.
I mean, I don't disagree, 30 to 40% is an unrealistic expectation, but
Yeah, the strategic plan was the best one.
But current communications that we can leverage. The first thing that comes to my mind is utility bills. And we can, they're cheap, typically, cost per unit to put a flyer in the utility bills. It's already going out to all the residents. We've done that, and that can be really successful.
Yeah, community social media, like that.
You can put stuff in the churches, in the library, in the senior center, the post office, you can put flyers all over.
I mean, yeah, and I think we have the mechanism there because as we learned with this whole school process, the consultants leading that told us that Belleville had the best response of any district they've worked with yet. And we are, I believe, one of the smaller districts they have worked with. So we can get the community engaged. We just have to get our message out and figure out what the right media is for that, because, and that's a real hard one in this day and age, obviously, because social media changes by the minute and all those things. And Gary can appreciate it from an emergency management standpoint, like if there was a disaster, how do we get the message out? That's always the how do we reach the masses? But I think we can work cooperatively on that. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Did you have the example of the survey up here yet or no, on your website? How long is it gonna be? I mean, that always becomes a barrier sometimes if it's longer, shorter percent people.
100%.
So if you say, hey, in 5 minutes, you can easily take this and your input and your, what you think it'll be.
Check the box, a couple of lines, good.
While you're not wrong, the quality of information, we get that. We need to balance the quality and depth of information we get with the breadth of the length of the survey. And if it's 5 questions, that's not going to get us far. What do you like? What don't you like? What would you like to see? What's your vision? Boom. So it helps if we phrase those questions in more context to help people think a bit more deeply.
Make them open-ended, so they can't just do yes or no. They have to put more than two or three words down. But if it's too long, people are gonna go, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's something we struggle with all the time. Absolutely. So, survey design is I'm not gonna say we're good at it. It's not my place, but we don't stink at it. So yes, we try to make good surveys that people take and that are engaging and ask questions that resonate. And, some are 1 to 10 and some are narrative answers. Yeah. But you're at too long, people bail. They don't finish it. All right, guys, thank you very much for having me at the meeting. I hope this gives you an idea of what we're doing and you'll be familiar with once you start seeing stuff around town. And when people ask you about it, you'll be like, oh yeah, somebody came and talked to us.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, thanks.
All right. Next items, communication miscellaneous business. Any member announcements, statements, or questions? Be quiet tonight. Future agenda items.
We're still waiting on some stuff from 990 Bell West, which was that CUP that we did the public hearing on last month. We may or may not get that in time for April. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet, not trying to jinx it, but.
All right. And our next meeting is April 8th.
Day after the election.
Yep.
So do that, do this, do all of them.
But you're not complaining.
No, me, never.
All right. And I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned at 6:33.